The world wasn't always like this. It all went wrong when the devourer of worlds broke loose. We called it SCP-073 back when the Foundation was still around. I've led multiple MTF squads to subdue the anomalies that breached containment during the chaos, but we couldn't get them all. We failed to stop 2317. What happened to the anomalies that escaped capture? I don't know, son. Some were terminated, some are still at large, and some, we let them go. Why did you let them go? Not all of them are evil. Every now and then, I think of those that have aided us in the past. Shh, quiet. I heard something. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you a tale from the SCP Foundation. Dylan opened his mouth again to speak, but was interrupted by the sound of screaming from outside the door. His eyes widened and he rushed to the door, pressing his ear to the cold wood. Gary stood up from his chair to follow his father. Dylan pressed his finger to his lips, signaling his son to stop talking. He was pale, and already droplets of sweat were running down his face, despite the fact that it was still in the middle of winter. Dylan drawn the axe at his hip. Slowly, he opened the door, holding the axe in his left hand. "Stay here," he gestured towards Gary, and closed the door behind him. Under the moonlight, Dylan saw a silhouette of a creature hunched over a dead man. It had long, gangly arms and a vaguely humanoid head. Have I seen this before? Doesn't matter, must keep Gary safe, Dylan thought, getting ready to take the creature by surprise. He emerged, getting ready to sprint and quickly take the creature down. He gripped the handle of the axe tightly, grasping it with both hands. Dylan stood up and started running towards it. His feet lightly pit-pattered on the ground, barely making any noise. When he got closer to the creature, its tiny, human-like ears perked up, but it was already too late. Dylan raised the axe, neatly severing the creature's neck in half. Blood spurted in all directions from the creature's decapitated stump as it fell down on the dead man's body. Dylan inspected the dead creature and recognized its ghastly eyes and its gaping mouth full of bloodied teeth. He heard movements within the woods in front of him. He ran back to his cabin, knocking hurriedly. "We gotta go." "Why? What's wrong?" "It's not safe here anymore. Pack up your things now. We're leaving soon." Suddenly, they heard a crash come from the back of the cabin. Dylan pulled his son towards him and got to cover behind a table. They could hear the intruder was making a mess of the kitchen. They took a peek and Dylan noticed that it was the creature he killed earlier. He handed the axe over to Gary. "Take this. Now follow me and watch your steps." They tiptoed their way out into the night, where several more of the creatures were stalking around. One of them noticed the father and son as they exited the cabin and let out an eerily human-like screech which attracted the attention of the rest. "Damn it! Run, Gary! Run!" Ah! One of the creatures broke through the door and pinned Dylan to the ground. Another one rushed in and bit into Dylan's face, eliciting another painful scream from him. Despite being trained by his father in the arts of fighting and survival, in this frozen wasteland, Gary was terrified like never before. His mind surrendered control to his body and he ran straight into the woods. He heard stomping on the ground behind him, and he knew that the creatures were giving chase. But he was too terrified to cry, too terrified to look back, too terrified to do anything but run. One mistake was all it took to die in this barren land. A simple misstep, and his father made enough noise to attract the attention of the creatures. They descended upon him like mad dogs hungry for the meal, and tore him to shreds. Soon enough, Gary arrived at what appeared to be an abandoned cabin in a clearing deep within the woods. He pushed open the door and slammed it shut behind him. He slid down with his back against the door, hugging his father's axe, a remnant of his MTF's days. "Damn it, Father! Damn it!" The surrounding area was oddly barren and utterly devoid of vegetation. Then he finally realized that sitting in front of him was a frail-looking man. "I see they have found new prey to hunt. Who are you?" "My name is unimportant. There are more pressing matters at hand." Speaking of which, the man was interrupted by another one of those creatures that had busted through the decayed cabin wall. The creature pinned the man down, chomping him and tearing through his flesh relentlessly. Suddenly, its body convulsed as bite marks manifested on its neck and flesh torn from its skin. The man, however, appeared unharmed. "What? How did you?" "I simply can't be hurt." No doubt you have 1,000 questions in your mind right now, but we don't have time for that. They're coming. Terror overcame Gary as he spotted more of the creatures skulking around the cabin outside. They stood up and rose to their full 10-foot height. Then, in synchronization, they screamed. The scream deafened Gary for good, stunning him and sending him to the ground. He could feel blood rushing down his ears. "This is no time to be afraid, boy. You must fight." I can't. My father's gone. I'm gonna die." Fear is the mind killer, boy. You must not fear and face them. Look at them. They've killed your father, and now they're coming for you. Gary wiped his tears away and gripped his axe. He could imagine his father getting torn apart by those monsters, their bloodied teeth digging into his skin and tearing flesh from bone. He wanted them dead. Gary tightened his grip on the axe with a look of determination in his eye. A creature charged at him. He bashed and struck at the downed creature over and over again until it turned into an unrecognizable mess. The man caught the rage in Gary's eyes. "Who wants some?" They were on him in seconds, sinking their claws and teeth into his body. But Gary was not deterred as adrenaline was pumping through his body. Over on the other side of the room, the man was being swarmed. He didn't fight back, but one by one, the creatures fell as he arose unharmed. He looked at the frenzied Gary, who was fighting against the horde with reckless abandon. If this is human nature, I wonder, are you truly more human than me, Brother Abel? Gary swung his axe against the horde, but soon his energy diminished and he struggled to hold his footing. His axe could barely hold them off as they became increasingly aggressive. Yet despite Gary's failing poise, the man could see that his rage was still burning inside him. His stares began to take on the look of a beast, ready to give itself to the wild side, abandoning humanity. "No, I will not allow it. Not again." One of the creatures managed to sneak up behind Gary and lunged at him, but the man managed to rush forward, took the attack upon himself, which repelled the creature. "That's enough. Stay back and follow my lead." But Gary ignored him and rushed forward for an attack. The man suddenly yanked him back and protected him from the creature's ambush. "Do you want to die? You think your father would like that? What you're doing now is suicide." "Why did you stop me? I need to kill, like you said." "No, you're becoming a vengeful demon just like my brother, and I will not let you." The creatures slowly gathered around and surrounded them. "Keep them in your view and stay behind me. When any of them jumps at me, you take the chance to cut them down. That way we can dispatch of them faster, then they can finish you off." They slowly maneuvered themselves to maintain an advantageous position. One of them lunged and bit the man's shoulder. He held its head as it clawed wildly at him. "This one, quick!" Gary held up his axe and cut at the creature's neck, almost severing it. Once it's down, Gary regained his footing beside the man. "Good. Stay focused. We're not over yet. On your left!" The man ducked as Gary swung to fend off the creature. It didn't do any damage, but it gave them more space. They fought side by side each other for the entire night. When the creatures went for the man, Gary would seize the opening to cut them down. When Gary was overwhelmed, the man used his body as a meat shield to distract them, to give Gary more breathing room. As morning came, the sun revealed that the cabin was now painted in blood. They're gone, for now. More will come back. There are eggs being hatched nearby as we speak. You best get your energy up and move on. The man then handed him a makeshift container filled with water, which Gary gulped down vigorously. "They killed my father. So it was vengeance I saw in your eyes. Vengeance or not, it didn't matter. They needed to die. These were monsters. No, your father's gone. There's nothing you can do to bring him back. These creatures don't care about you, me, or your father, or your vengeance. They are just animals looking for the next meal. Fight not for your father, but your survival. What do you know about survival? Take a look around you. All the humans are gone. The only ones fit to survive are monsters like you and them. So don't you dare tell me about survival." I'm sorry. I was out of line. You mentioned your brother. What happened to him? You remind me of my brother. The way you fought, the intensity in your eyes. It was uncanny. He'd gone down a dark path of vengeance and bloodshed, and it was all my fault that he turned out that way, and I'd prefer to leave it at that. So where is he now? Somewhere out there, probably reveling in fights. They remained silent for a moment. Then tears started rolling down Gary's cheeks. Is there even a place for me? What's the point of living in this godforsaken world anymore? Just deaths. Life has no meaning now. Take a look around you. Nothing grows around me. Wherever I go, decay follows. It's a curse that's bound to me for eternity. Yet, if you look further, you can see the sun touches more land yet, where life flourishes, and that's good enough for me. The meaning of life isn't set in stone. It's a choice made by each one of us. That's why I chose to stay. That's why I chose to help you fight. That's the meaning of my life, because I deem it so. Who are you? I'm simply a nobody. But you may call me Cain. Cain didn't have the luxury of forgetting why he did it or how Abel's blood had dripped off the stone and onto his corpse. He could still hear his mother's distant wailing, the mountains crumbling, and the sky cracking as a father mourned the death of his son, all because of Cain. Cain! Cain! You there? Leora watched as Cain jolted back to reality and moved his queen 6 places, toppling one of her pawns. Check. Aw, come on, every time. Man, thought I had you there. She pouted as he dissolved the captured piece back into light. You'd have to do better than this, little miss. She noticed the same absent-minded look spreading across Cain's face again. Is something the matter? You look troubled. Just old memories. An old man lost in thoughts. Oh, what are you thinking about? For a brief moment, Cain's ever-pleasant demeanor drained from his face and he became someone else. Someone old and tired who had done many things he regretted. And then, as quickly as the look had appeared, he had banished it from his face again. Nothing in particular. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we're bringing you a tale from the SCP Foundation. Let's play again tomorrow. Sure thing. Off you go now. Leora waved at him as the guard led her away from the cell. Cain waved back with a smile. The cell door shut tight and the smile once again faded away. Cain looked around his cell, nothing but cold steel and lifeless concrete. He sighed and spoke to himself. Haven't I suffered enough? How long do I have to carry this curse? When will it end? He missed the days when he used to walk the earth barefoot, when he used to collect wild berries and hunt in the woods with his brother. He could vividly feel the leaves brushing against his body and leaves crunching softly under his careful steps. He grew sad remembering how comforted he would feel when he lay down on the grassy ground after a day of hard work. I mean no disrespect, but isn't it nice? Being an immortal and all, like you don't need to worry about being sick and dying from things like cancer. You're free to do whatever you want, live however you want. Oh, how would you live your immortal life then, my friend? First thing first, to hell with this diet. I'm gonna eat whatever the hell I want. I only eat healthily to maintain my physique and keep my job. I'm sure you can imagine how this place is a meat grinder for men like us. Most of us die in missions that we can't even tell our loved ones about. To die like that? Nah, I wouldn't have to worry about a damn thing if I had a body like yours, Cain. Very well, I can see why you'd think that way, but you must consider its less desirable aspects as well. Yeah, plants and papers rot around you, but I'm fine with that. I think it's a fair deal if that means I can live forever. Hell, I think it's a steal. Well, when you put it that way, I guess I've been very fortunate, in a way. The memories of the past haunted him still. This photographic memory is a blessing and a curse, he thought to himself. Cain had already left when it happened. His curse had killed the land around him and forced him away from everything he had known. As if it wasn't enough to continually mourn his brother and the loss of his home, he would often see himself carrying his dead brother's body in his nightmares. Each time, his brother would only speak one word: remember. No matter what, the blood dripping on the stone was always the first thing he saw when he closed his eyes. 3 days earlier, the Foundation had requested that Cain reunite with his brother. He decided to give it a shot. Cain crossed the white room and stood over the coffin that held his brother. He didn't know if Abel could hear him in there. Maybe he was sleeping. The thought made him smile a little. Maybe Abel's habit of long naps hadn't changed. "Good morning, brother. Say, shouldn't you be tending to your sheep? They're scattered all over the hills." Cain waited, no reply from the coffin, not a single sound. "Abel, I'm sorry." Before he could finish, Abel's hand broke through the coffin's dark wood, gripping a sword. Cain barely had time to react after he caught a glimpse of it as it tried to decapitate him. However, Cain did not dodge the blade. He didn't need to. Abel's head fell to the floor and turned to dust, caving in on itself. Cain coughed, ran his hand over his neck, and winced. "Good to see you too. I'll never get used to that." Unpleasant would be an understatement. Abel stepped out of his coffin, the blade still tightly gripped in his hand. "Why are you here? What do you want?" "I came to ask for—" Abel silenced his brother by lifting the tip of his sword to Cain's neck. "Leave. Now. You know, you can never hurt me, don't you?" Abel brought his sword to his own neck and thrust it into his skin. Again, Cain let him. Watching his brother being decapitated again displeased him deeply. "I told you, you can't." "Oh, I see what you're trying to do." Collapsing into a pile on the floor, Abel's head and body turned to dust. "Very well, brother. I'll come by again soon." Cain purposefully took his time leaving, just in case Abel changed his mind, but he didn't. This scene would recur over and over for another month. Sometimes, Abel would pretend to finally be interested in a chat, only to decapitate himself by means of Cain's anomalous arm reflection ability and go back to his coffin. Sometimes, he would not even make a sound. Sometimes, Cain would come to Abel's chamber just to sit by the coffin. Sometimes, he would sing as Abel slept. Abel had been the timid brother. The only thing that soothed him on stormy nights was his mother's lullabies. Despite his age, Cain was still able to hum the soft, haunting melodies that dwelt on the brighter days before all this, before the killing. He was somewhat pleased by it. Sometimes, before Cain left, Abel would say just one thing to him from his coffin. "I'll never forgive you, Cain." The next time Leora came to Cain's cell to play chess, it was quieter than most days. In the past, Cain would comment on her moves, providing running commentary of the game. "Ah, I see what you're trying to do. Ooh, I see you're emulating me, but that won't work. Too late now, and check." But today, Cain was only focused on the board. Rarely did he look up or even talk. "Is everything okay? You've barely said a single word today. Are you tired?" "What? Oh no, I'm just focusing on the game. I'm all right." He reached for a piece, but hesitated for a moment, his fingers hovering in the air. "Yeah, well, being the smart guy you are, you're always telling stories, chatting up the guard, or doing something else during our games. You don't typically need to focus like that. Something else must be troubling you." "She's right about that one, Cain. Guess there's no point hiding from you lot. I'm currently plagued with a problem regarding seeking forgiveness. Please forgive me. I prefer to leave the details to myself." "Well, there's not much to it. You say sorry and ask for forgiveness. You say your piece and hope that person understands and forgives you. Everything sounds clearer and simpler with you. It doesn't have to be complicated, Cain. You're such a nice person, and kind too. I cannot imagine why anyone would get mad at you. You flatter me, little miss. But at the time, I wasn't the man I am today. I was bad. Very, very bad. Yeah, but you've changed for the better, haven't you? That alone should be enough to, redeem yourself, right?" Cain opened his mouth, but he couldn't find the words. Thoughts of forgiveness and redemption filled his mind. "Do I deserve to be forgiven after all I've done?" he thought. "To be given immortality, albeit with a trade-off, surely it's a blessing. Have I redeemed myself? I may not be as smart as you, but you and me, we're all just not normal people living under the watchful eyes of normal people. We eat, sleep, and live according to specific rules. If the Foundation didn't make rules for us, our own specialties would find a way for us to live painful lives. No one else could understand. Sure, some may be jealous that you get to live so long while the rest of us just stop living at some point. Death is scary, but you've beat it. Still, maybe we're simple to think that way, because, you understand your pain better than other people. I don't know. Only the cursed ones live here in cells. I think you've done enough, suffered enough, Cain. You'll be forgiven, I'm sure of it." She looked back down at the chessboard. Cain could only look at her as she planned her next move. The next day, Abel's coffin remained silent, as Cain expected. "I have come to talk. Please forgive me. I apologize from the bottom of my heart." Abel slowly opened the coffin, standing and stepping out, watching his brother with patient yet rageful gaze. "Heart, huh? Funny. I swear you didn't have one when you murdered me, your own brother. I'm sorry." "Sorry? Sorry? That's all you can say? You have the audacity to come here and say sorry now, after killing and leaving me? Why? Killing me and leaving me to these people to leave their marks on me, all their marks? Tell me." I was young and jealous. I'm older now. Time has carved its wisdom into me. I'm here now because I still love you. Please forgive me, Abel." Abel drew his blade. As he prepared to swing, he let the sword fall to the ground with a clatter, instead putting his hands around Cain's neck. "It's not fair. It's not fair. You are so untouched. I can't leave a single wound on you. And yet, look at me. Look at all the things that have been done to me. It's so unfair. I died, and now I live a life of rage and disgrace. You, on the other hand, are revered by the people around you. You used to be my hero. But you let this happen to me." As he choked Cain, Abel could feel himself being choked by his own strength, but he didn't care. The rage and sadness inside him drove him to continue. "I see it, Abel. I see what I've done. I take full responsibility. I don't know how, but I promise I'll make it up to you, brother." Cain reached out and touched Abel's face to wipe the tears running down his cheeks. Abel let out a cry as he exerted his full strength into crushing Cain's windpipe. With a crunch, Abel gasped and let go, crumbling at Cain's feet. By the time the brothers' tears reached the floor, they could only wet the dust that remained. "So, how goes it?" "Oh, well, I did my best there." "Did the person forgive you?" "I don't know, and I may never know. But that's fine now. I have to accept it for what it is." "What?" "But that's so unfair. You were so worried and you did your best. I've made peace with it now. No matter how many times I apologize, if he won't accept it, there's nothing I can do. The things I've done are a part of me. Perhaps I have already redeemed myself. Maybe not. Still, no amount of goodwill and charity can erase the harm I've done. We can only do better. I still can't imagine what you could have possibly done to get a curse like losing the ability to die." He only smiled and moved his knight. "Perhaps it's for bullying a girl in chess. Come now, it's about time you end my curse, little miss." When information concerning SCP-076 was brought to the attention of SCP-073 for backing up, 073 showed familiarity with the information and was disinclined to adding to it. It then stated that it is best not to meet with SCP-076 out of consideration for all parties involved. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today we bring you SCP Foundation Keter Class Object SCP-073. SCP-073, also known as Cain, appears to be a heavily tanned male of Arabic or Middle Eastern descent in his early 30s, 6'1" tall and 75 kilograms, with black hair and blue eyes. Arms, legs, spinal cord, and shoulder blades of 073 appear to have been replaced with artificial versions of unknown make and metal. 073 only takes notice of this when it is pointed out, and states that it has no knowledge of how, why, or when these replacements took place, stating it had had them as long as it could remember. Examination of the unidentified metal on SCP-073 has suggested that it is beryllium bronze, a metal that has been documented as being utilized by various anomalous cultures and entities. In light of this discovery, the Foundation began working in an attempt to trace the origin of beryllium bronze and how it initially spread throughout the world. When prompted, SCP-073 was able to provide information suggests that beryllium bronze originated in the Middle East, though the exact point of origin has yet to be determined. Further research into the origin of beryllium bronze is currently ongoing. There is also a symbol engraved into the forehead of 073, which appears to be of Sumerian origin. Symbol has of yet been untranslated, and 073 appears distressed when the symbol is mentioned at all, refusing to speak on it. 073 does need to eat and drink on a regular basis, but is strictly carnivorous, owing to its effect on plant-based items. 073 is generally polite and genial to all who speak to it, though it has been described as cold and somewhat mechanical in its speech. 073 is extremely helpful and enjoys aiding personnel in their daily actions, whatever they may be. It has highly detailed knowledge of ancient to recent events in history and most commonly spoken languages in the world, including ones that have since died out. 073 has professed to have a photographic memory, remembering word for word all text in an 800-page dictionary that was flipped through in a minute and a half. It has scored above average in all intelligence tests given to it. SCP-073's presence is inimical to all life grown in soil, causing death to any life within a 20-meter radius. Any land 073 has walked on and any within the 20-meter radius becomes barren, as all anaerobic bacteria dies, rendering the soil incapable of supporting life until new bacteria are introduced. Anything that is derived from soil-grown life, such as wood and paper, immediately rots and disintegrates upon touch of 073. Further affected derivatives include anything hydroponically grown. Any damages directly towards 073 will reflect directly back onto the attacker, although 073 visibly remains unharmed. Attempts to get tissue and blood samples have proven futile. When the procedure was initiated, personnel carrying out the action felt the sensation of whatever was applied to 073 and wound up with a sample of their own blood or tissue, despite the fact that all actions were directed solely at 073. Indirect damage through a medium also results in the person perpetrating the action receiving the wounds caused. Although 073 receives no actual harm from damage to its person, it has stated that it still feels the pain of the action and has politely asked researchers to abstain from overly harmful actions to its person. In light of SCP-073's indestructible nature, photographic memory, and general will to please, High Command have deemed that all information is to be backed up on 073, ensuring it is not lost in the event of a catastrophe. While this action has been met with mixed responses, 073 has agreed and sworn itself to secrecy on its part. SCP-073 was first found by the SCP Foundation in the New York Police Department, having been taken in after 073 had been found amidst the bodies of several violent gang members. 073 told police members that the gang had attempted to make fun of it, but became angry, and attempted to kill 073, resulting in their own demise. 073 was incarcerated and was deemed a John Doe when NYPD could not find any information on it. 073 came to the attention of the Foundation through a routine inspection of John Does and was subsequently released into the Foundation's custody. When information concerning SCP-076 was brought to the attention of SCP-073 for backing up, 073 showed familiarity with the information and was disinclined to adding to it. It then stated that it is best not to meet with SCP-076 out of consideration for all parties involved. SCP-076 consists of two components, a black speckled metamorphic stone referred as SCP-076-1 and a humanoid entity contained within, referred as SCP-076-2. 076-2 resembles a lean, Semitic human male in his late 20s. For more information about SCP-076, check out this video. Rumor has it that 076-2 and 073 are based off the biblical characters Cain and Abel. In the biblical book of Genesis, Cain and Abel are the first two sons of Adam and Eve. Cain, the firstborn, was a farmer, and his brother Abel was a shepherd. The symbol engraved on 073's forehead is obviously the mark of Cain, and, at least according to the Bible, it makes the land barren around him. That is why all organic materials decompose when he is near. Although we're still not sure about their relationship, but we're definitely sure that 076-2 hates 073. Because upon sight of it, 076-2 became highly enraged and aggressive, killing several of the researchers. According to the Bible, Cain and Abel made sacrifices to Yahweh, the national God of the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. Each of their own produce, but Yahweh favored Abel's sacrifice instead of Cain's. Cain then murdered Abel, whereupon Yahweh punished Cain by condemning him to a life of wandering. Cain then dwelt in the land of Nod, where he built a city and fathered the line of descendants beginning with Enoch. Hence 076-2 seems to be reincarnated as a vengeful being. He just kills and kills, which seems like he is exacting revenge for being murdered by 073. Recently, a grade 3 researcher, Dorothy Zhang from the Chinese branch, had proposed a plan to the Containment Area 25 administrator that can possibly contain SCP-076 more efficiently. Dorothy suggested to add amnestic equipment to the killing corridor inside SCP-076-2's containment measures, attempt to erase its memory about its death. The possible outcomes of the plan include a reduction in the state of anger and a reduction in the containment process. There was no foreseen injurious consequence, and the cost was within an acceptable range. Finally, the proposal was approved. After the procedure, 076-2 has forgotten. He quieted down and murmured with an unrecognizable language, wondering where he is. He stepped out of the corridor as the guards nervously watched him. An ancient Sumerian expert was soon sent to the scene to help communicate. He has forgotten. Staying in a standard humanoid containment room, 076-2 told the researchers that he wanted to go grazing. To satisfy his request, an indoor farm was soon built. They were still highly alert to 076-2, but he had a great time anyways. He asked the employees, who were dressed as biblical characters, of 073's trace. At first, they got away temporarily by telling him that 073 went to travel, though he became much more persistent 2 months later and even threatened the employees. More armed forces were arranged around 076-2's farm. They tried to come up with excuses that could be accepted by 076-2, but they have never thought of one. Soon, 076-2 realized that they were lying to him. He escaped from its containment room and finally met SCP-073. Surprisingly, there were no conflicts between 073 and 076-2. 073 apologized to 076-2. Though 076-2 did not appear to comprehend what the apology was for. Since then, 073 was allowed to meet with 076-2 periodically. After this event, 076-2 was aging at the same speed as an ordinary human being and was estimated to die in a few years. By then, Containment Area 25 should recover all special containment methods that were used to contain SCP-076. The current 076-2 remained its state of death for 10 years, in which no 076-2 has been produced from 076-1 since. 076-2 is now considered neutralized. SCP-073 is currently kept in Site-17, a 2-room cell furnished with all non-organic furniture and items, and a bathroom. 073 can freely wander the facility and eat in the main canteen. A tracking device has been attached to SCP-073's person and is not to be removed. It is disallowed any contact with the surface and is not allowed outside the facility. It is also not allowed to have any contact with plant-based SCPs under any circumstances. Violence is not to be used against 073 under any circumstances. Remember to check out my new animation channel, TheRubber Talks, where I share my life story, thoughts, and opinions. Just click on the link in the description to enter the Rubber's world. Before we end this video, we are proud to present these incredibly sweet pieces of fan art. A big thank you to all of you. You can now send us your fan art, and we will be more than happy to show off your best art piece in our next video. Check out our description below on how to submit. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Which SCP do you want to see in the next video and why it is interesting? Let us know in the comment below. We will draw your story and share it with the world. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. Please share it to your friends if you like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!